The Oath of Conquest Paladin was requested by one of my viewers, Blizzic. If you've got a subclass request, leave it down in the comment section below, and I'm going to try to get to it as soon as possible. If you were listening to Black Sabbath, whenever you're making your character, I can't help but think, like, this paladin is such a, like, Hell Knight, black metal paladin. I love the flavor of this thing. I can definitely see why Blizzic said it was his favorite subclass to play. So let's go over into D&D Beyond and give this thing a look. The Oath of Conquest calls to paladins who seek glory in battle and the subjugation of their enemies. It isn't enough for these paladins to establish order, they must crush the forces of chaos. Sometimes called knights, tyrants, or ironmongers, those who swear this oath gather into grim orders that serve gods or philosophies of war and well-ordered might.
That's brutal.
Some of these paladins go so far as to consort with the powers of the Nine Hells, valuing the rule of law over the balm of mercy. The archdevil Bel, warlord of Avernus, counts many of these paladins, called Hell Knights, as his most ardent supporters. Hell Knights cover their armor with trophies taken from fallen enemies, a grim warning to any who dare oppose them and the decrees of their lords.
Darn, that's awesome!
These knights are often most fiercely resisted by other paladins of this oath, who believe that the Hell Knights have wandered too far into darkness.
It's the most brutal thing ever. It's not like regular hate. It's so much more black.
I swear, that just sounds so, like, drop D, like, oh, I love, love that flavor text. Oh, man. So let's get into their features. Armor of Agathis. The real strength with Armor of Agathis is your AC is already going to be incredibly high. It's great on them right here. You don't need to take, like, mage armor and get more AC as a paladin, like, unless you want to go for a specifically huge AC build. But Armor of Agathis allows you to gain temporary hit points, which are always good, and then, if something hits you with a melee attack, you punish it by dealing 5 cold damage to it. That's crazy awesome, and it doesn't have to deal the entire 5 temporary hit points of damage. It could do like 3, and then bam, you immediately cause it to deal the 5 cold damage, and then something come up and take the other 2, and then that one takes the 5 cold damage. Armor of Agathis is really good. I feel like, especially if you're kind of surrounded by like a horde or like lower level, let's say like goblins or something like that, I feel like it scales very well. Whenever you're, casting it at 2nd or 3rd level, I think you're going to be using those spell slots for other things. Armor of Agathis might not be quite as on par as just using that for, like, smiting, but hey, this is here. It lasts for an hour. You can cast this on yourself before a fight, and then go in and, Armor of Agathis, I think, is really good for some versatility. So next up, they get Command. Command is one of the better social spells in the game. First level, duration of 1 round. You speak a 1-word command to a creature you can see within range. That target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn. The spell has no effect if the target is undead, if it doesn't understand your language, or if your command is directly harmful to it. That is quite a chunk out of the monster manual, but command you're mostly going to be using on like guards, on like bandits, and humanoids. Like, you're mostly focused on humanoids, and then if you just look at it in that sense, there's a ton of creatures you can do this to. Some typical commands and their effects follow. You might issue a command other than the one described here. If you do so, the GM determines how the target behaves. If the target can't follow your command, the spell ends. So it gives you a few different things a few commands to go on ahead and, like, okay, I want to make it do this one thing. Bam, that's how it's supposed to work. However, what I really like about this is that it lets you kind of paint and create a new command, and your GM gets to determine, like, what that could be. So command could potentially get a much stronger effect than what you're seeing right here, or potentially a much worse effect than what you're expecting to happen. However, I do think that for its versatility, how many times this is going to come into play, this is going to really define your paladin, so that's why I gave it purple. I feel like command is going to be around for the entire campaign, and you're going to have a lot of fun using it. Hold person, there's a really good reason why most people pick up Hold Person as soon as they get access to 2nd level spell slots. The spell is insanely good, especially if you have a lot of frontliners. This spell is intense. Choose a humanoid that you can see within range. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be paralyzed for the duration. At the end of each of its turns, the target can make another wisdom saving throw. On a success, the spell ends on the target. While it's paralyzed, it can't move, and if you're within melee range of it, your attack is an automatic crit. Like, that is... that's intense. That is crazy, crazy, crazy awesome. Duration of 1 minute with concentration. I mean, you're talking about a potential of 10 rounds right here where you're going to keep this thing locked down if it just has some bad rolls, you know. Hold person is great. It's effective at what it's trying to do. Now, yes, it does only work on humanoids. That's going to be a very fairly common creature type that's going to come up in the game. Spiritual Weapon is the next spell that they get. If you've been watching Critical Role at all, you've seen Jester absolutely abuse the shit out of this spell. You create a floating spectral weapon within range that lasts for the duration or until you can cast the spell again. When you cast a spell, you can make a melee spell attack against a creature within 5 feet of the weapon. On a hit, the target takes force damage equal to 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. On a bonus action on your turn, you can move the weapon up to 20 feet and repeat the attack against a creature within 5 feet of it. The weapon can take whatever form you choose. Clerics of the deity who are associated with a particular weapon, such as Saint Culfert, known for his mace, and Thor for his hammer, makes the spell's effect resemble that weapon. So, duration of 1 minute. Doesn't require concentration. Casting time of 1 bonus action. It has a range of 60 feet. So while you're engaged with something, with your paladin tossing out all his smites, you can just keep the spiritual weapon to get guys off your back. This spell is insanely good. And yeah, spiritual weapon, if you aren't using this, you gotta check it out. Really, if you look at this spell list, these guys are getting all okay, so purple is one that I feel like is going to come into play a lot for your character. Blue is yeah, you're definitely going to get it and feel happy that you have it. Green is one of those ones that I'm there's going to be some situations where this is pretty strong. If I have orange, then it means I think this spell might be a little niche, you know, might call for very certain situations. And then if I see red, it's I feel like the spell is just useless. Bestow Curse. So you touch a creature, and that creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become cursed for the duration of the spell. When you cast this spell, choose the nature of the curse from the following options. The reason why I feel like Bestow Curse on these paladins is so good. So good. What you can choose is an ability score, and then it has disadvantage on ability checks on saving throws made against that ability score. So, you take that, choose the wisdom ability score, and all of your fear stuff, this spell perfectly synergizes with everything that your paladin's going to be wanting to do. The other effects are good, but oh my god, the disadvantage on wisdom saves is going to perfectly synergize with everything you're wanting to do. If it's immune to being feared by you or frightened by you, then you can choose any of the other effects. The 1d8 necrotic damage, smite even harder. Target has disadvantage on attack rolls against you. They're just, all these effects are just incredible. Fear just fits the theme of this paladin so well. You project a phantasmal image of a creature's worst fears. Each creature in a 30-foot cone must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or drop whatever it's holding and become frightened for the duration. This is a disarm against anything that doesn't have a natural weapon attack or spell casting available. While frightened by this spell, a creature must take the dash action and move directly away from you by the safest available route on each of its turns, unless there's nowhere to move. If the creature ends its turn in a location where it doesn't have a line of sight of you, the creature can make a wisdom saving throw. On a successful save, the spell ends for that creature. This is great defensively. If you've got a horde of people running at you, just throw out this fear. This paladin gets a very noticeable power spike at 5th and 9th levels just based on these alone. Dominate Beasts. Beasts are a fairly common creature type that comes up. Not a lot of them are immune to being charmed. I always try to think of any of these beast-specific things is does it work on a T-Rex? If so, this thing is probably really freaking good. Dominate Beast absolutely works on a T-Rex if you encounter one. Stone Skin. The spell turns the flesh of a willing creature that you touch as hard as stone. Until the spell ends, the target has resistance to non-magical, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. If you want to take care of some of your squishies, this is a perfect way to do it right here. yeah, concentration for an hour. You are going to be a frontliner having to make these concentration checks. Chances are you've probably got a higher constitution modifier than the person that you're trying to stone skin with it. But this is also a way where you can feel like you're getting a bit of the barbarians feel, I guess, right here. Stone Skin, it's going to be a great spell. You're going to use it a lot. It is a 4th level spell slot, so you're taking away from some of your smites to do it, but hey, it's good. Cloudkill, I went over my feelings on Cloudkill in my Circle of Spore Druid video. Cloudkill, I feel honestly like because of the expense of a 5th level spell slot, here on the Paladin, that's a really, really, really valuable resource to have. I would probably rather be doing my smites and other things, other spells, instead of Cloudkill. It's alright, it's here if you need it. Cool. Alright, moving on. So Dominate Person, I actually just kind of talked myself out of it being purple. You're getting it at 17th level. At this tier of play, there's not going to be a whole lot of stuff that is going to be able to be charmed or frightened by you. Whenever you get this to work, it's going to feel cool. I just don't think that it's going to be that impactful. Here on the Paladin, Dominate Person means a lot whenever you're getting it at, like, I think it's like, 9th level that you can get 5th level spell slots. Here on the Paladin, though, where you're getting it at 17th level, that's just not going to be super helpful, and that's a very expensive resource to blow on just testing the waters to see if that thing's immune to being charmed. However, if it isn't immune to being charmed, this spell is absolutely devastating. Getting into the subclass itself, Channel Divinity, we have our Conquering Presence. You can use your Channel Divinity to exude a terrifying presence. As an action, you force each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you to make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature becomes frightened of you for 1 minute. The frightened creature can repeat this saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. While it's frightened, While it's frightened, the frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, while the source of its fear is within line of sight. A creature can't willingly move closer towards the source of its fear. This is amazing for defensive situations. You pop the fear, even if it can't attack you, right? And it goes to attack like your cleric or whatever, just get behind it and there you go. This is a really good use for the Channel Divinity at early levels. It might start to fall off later on. You do get your Bestow Curse, that's going to perfectly synergize with this. This is just fantastic for everything else that this Paladin's got going on. And honestly, later on, you're going to get other features that aren't just straight up, like it doesn't work if a creature's immune to being charmed or frightened. Guided Strike, I don't know why my highlight came off of this. Guided Strike is going to give you a +10 bonus to an attack roll that you can make the choice to use after you have rolled, but before the DM tells you whether the attack hits or misses. So here, if you roll an 8, but you feel like an 18 is definitely going to hit, pop your Channel Divinity, throw up your smites and do everything you want to do with it. This is going to always be impactful throughout all tiers of play in the game. Guided Strike might be actually the more common use of your Channel Divinity than Conquering Presence. Always versatile, always good. Aura of Conquest, starting at 7th level, you constantly emanate a menacing aura while you're not incapacitated. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. All Paladins are getting an aura here at 7th level. If a creature is frightened of you, its speed is reduced to 0 while in the aura, and the creature takes psychic damage equal to half your Paladin levels if it starts its turn there. You're getting so much other stuff outside of your Conquering Presence. I mean, you've got your, Fear that you're about to get here. It works perfectly well within what this Paladin is already trying to do. Synergizes really well. Sure, there's an argument to be made that this falls off later on. Argument I've constantly made about Fear and Charmed. While it's here, this is going to be really good. At 18th level, it gets to be a bigger effect. I feel like here at 7th, this is perfectly fine. Again, might fall off later on. You might not notice the impact of it so much, but this is going to be a great minion clearer for sure. Scornful Rebuke, starting at 15th level, those who dare strike you are physically punished for their audacity. A+ to whoever wrote that text right there. Whenever a creature hits you with an attack, that creature takes psychic damage equal to your charisma modifier if you're not incapacitated. You're always able to deal this out whenever you're hit with an attack. It's always going to be impactful. Like, for combat, this is insanely good. Scornful Rebuke is fantastic. Invincible Conqueror at 20th level. Now, before I go into this, very few campaigns make it up to 20th level, and even fewer stay there for longer than a few sessions. So, once you get this, it's like, cool, you've got it for a few sessions, but this effect is intense. So at 20th level, you gain the ability to harness extraordinary martial prowess. As an action, you can magically become an avatar of conquest, gaining the following benefits for 1 minute. You have resistance to all damage. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can make one additional attack as part of that action. Your melee weapon attacks score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20 on the d20. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. This is so good. So good. It's part of the reason why Stone Skin starts to fall off for you specifically. You are going to be buffing up your allies and doing all that stuff. Invincible Conqueror, though, I mean, you crit 10% of the time on your roll. Resistance to all damage. You get to do another attack. It's just, this is awesome. It's versatile. It's good for them. It does everything you're really wanting out of a 20th level feature. As you can see, I marked everything in purple with these guys. I think everything they're going to do is going to be very impactful throughout all levels of play, minus some of the frightened stuff, but honestly, they're getting stuff that's going to make sure that they're going to be all right if something isn't into being charmed or frightened. Their spell list is very, very in theme to what they're trying to do. All the spells that they get are also fantastic. This is just a amazing subclass. Oath of Conquest Paladin, S tier for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you're new to my channel, I make a lot of D&D related content, homebrew or design. Give a lot of D&D tips as far as like for players and DMs. If that sounds like something that would interest you, why not hit that subscribe button? Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, tell your buddies about my channel, and hope you guys are staying safe, and I hope to see you in the next one.